Hey KU fans, welcome back to KU Sports Extra. Here with Benton Smith, I'm Matt Tate, and Benton, we're in Pittsburgh in a lovely, warm, and cozy hotel. There's a fireplace right over there.
Yeah. It's really picturesque. It's too bad that no one can see it.
I know, it's beautiful. If we had someone to hold this thing, we would have definitely done it by the fireplace. But, you know, we don't. So we're grinding it out, leaning it up against the Dunkin' Donuts cup right here.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, there you go, right. It kind of was that kind of day for KU. A lean the phone against the Dunkin' Donuts cup kind of day. KU loses 65-64 in Morgantown, just 90 miles south of here. And, gosh, it looked like a really bad result, and it still does. But then later in the evening, Texas Tech loses at Baylor. And with that result, plus Iowa State's win and K-State's win, you've got 4 teams at the top of the Big 12 race.
Crazy.
That's 4-2, and 2 of them play each other on Monday night in Allen Fieldhouse, and the other 2 play each other Tuesday night in Bramlage in Manhattan. So, yeah, we're only 6 games in, you know, and I continue to feel like that's too early to talk about this stuff.
Right.
But I don't know that it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that you have a 4-way tie, even if it is only 6 games in.
Right.
And I think it's kind of a reminder that just like, yeah, crazy stuff's going to happen pretty much every week in this conference. A team that you think has no business of winning is going to win, and it's going to do something to the standings, and everybody's going to freak out for at least 30 minutes, and then everybody will settle back down and remember, oh yeah, there's still like 12 games
No
left.
doubt, yeah.
So, but you know, it is important, and I think, yeah, you referenced like it looked like a bad loss today, not because of West Virginia not having any wins, but just because it was right there for KU to get out of here with a win. And they had a 6-point lead with what, like 2 minutes?
2:16 or something, yeah.
So I mean, at that point, that was as in good a shape as they looked all afternoon at West Virginia, and all you need is some sound possessions offensively there to close it out. Yeah, he just won.
I mean, it was 64-58 with 2:16 left.
And then
you get
last
one
5
good
shots.
possession, one more make, you get 66, and that's enough.
All of a sudden, you're at the very top of the Big 12 standings at the end of the night. I mean, obviously at that point you have no idea that Tech's going to lose to Baylor, which no one saw coming.
Sure.
And so just a lot of things happen in a span of a few hours.
No doubt. I also think it's a reminder that this isn't just Kansas against one other team. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what people were looking at, like even a week or 10 days ago. Like, who's their toughest out? Who's the one team that can push them? There's 3 or 4 teams that can.
Yeah, potentially. This K-State resurgence is something else. I don't think a lot of people expected that, even though Dean Wade is back. I think the product was at such a low level offensively. Defense has never been an issue for K-State, and maybe that's what's going to end up winning this league.
Let's talk about this game a little more before we get out of here. You mentioned the 6-point lead in a game where there was no separation. In a game where 5 felt like a big lead. Yeah.
6.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal to be up that big, and I thought that was a fair representation of the game. Right. I mean, it was every time KU got up 5 or 6, West Virginia would do something and score 5 or 6 of their own, or 4 at least. Every time KU had a 5-point lead or a 6-point lead with a shot to push it above that, they'd miss. And you know, it's just one of those days. And then, of course, it comes down to the wire, and that's probably what we should spend the most time talking about here. Late in the game, you've got LeGerald Vick, the lone senior on this team. I'm not going to say he went rogue, but it was a little crazy. I mean, he was the guy at the rec center that just dribbles too much and won't pass. And his head was down and buried, and he was trying to dribble the air out of the thing. And you know, he's not a poised 4-year senior like Devontae Graham or Frank Mason or some of those other guys are. Nobody expects that. Nobody said that. Nobody thinks that. But he's still a senior. And you wrote this in your column that he, even if by osmosis, I think is the way you put it, even if by osmosis he just absorbed and learned some of that, how to handle yourself late game. If you can't be the guy that makes the shot, that's fine. Nobody's going to criticize you for that. Drive it to the rim or get it to somebody who will. You don't have to be a hero, and I think you pointed that out in your column too. It was a hero ball feel.
That was definitely the feel to it, because KU was down 1, and it wasn't like a rush thing where like, okay, this is the best we can do. Here's the 3-pointer. I know a 2 would win it, but this is a shot that the defense gave us. They had 8.5 seconds. So Vic is able to dribble into the front court, kind of survey the land, and he just decided he wanted to take a three-pointer. And I know that's his shot.
Yeah,
he's the best three-point shooter on the team. There's no doubt about that. But just the angle that he took, it wasn't a rhythm three. No. He hadn't been hitting, so he had just airmailed one the last trip down on another forced three-pointer. So obviously, I mean,
look, he's not making that shot. Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's a rhythm shooter,
right.
and I don't care if he did that 100 times in a row. He's going to make 3, 4, maybe. I mean, it just right. It wasn't in the cards.
Right.
He should have known it. It was in the cards today for Marcus Garrett. Should have got him the ball.
Yeah. Garrett or Dotson.
Or Dotson.
Because both those guys would attack the paint because that was the play. West Virginia had 9 fouls at the time, so the next foul, if they were able to draw contact, was going to get 2 free throws.
Down one.
Down one. So you want that or a layup, in that situation.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because the other part that was big about this was Self talking about, I should have called timeout.
Yeah.
That's been bantered about on Twitter. People saying he definitely should have. Some people saying, give him the benefit of the doubt. He's Bill Self. Whatever your feeling is, it was really interesting. I don't know if they showed this on TV, but from our vantage point, there was the ball goes through that puts West Virginia up 1, and there was a moment where it was almost like everything just stopped.
Yeah.
The ball was bouncing before Garrett inbounded it, and Self. It was like those guys on the floor did not know what to do, did not know what coach wanted, did not know what they should do. Their brains froze for a second. You look at Self on the sideline, and he's saying, come on, go, go, because he saw no one was back.
Yep.
You push the pace. You might, like you just said, you might have got an easy, uncontested layup for the win. So could he have called timeout? Of course he could have, and maybe it would have been the right move, and I applaud him for taking that on his shoulders. But if you watched the whole scene, he was coaching them up from the bench, and they didn't get the message immediately because it wasn't natural for them. It wasn't an automatic instinct thing, and he's saying go, go, go. But by that time, it was that pause just really hurt the whole flow of it. And even with that said, Vic still could have drove to the rim. Garrett still could have got the ball. Dotson still could have got the ball. Something different could have happened. So that's where Vic sort of hijacked the thing and turned it bad. But gosh, it was that's frantic, man. That whole last minute was really frantic. You're writing away and you're looking at this thing's over. KU's going to get out of here somehow, And then the next thing you know, you tweet, they lost. I mean, like a weird day, a weird day. Final thoughts?
Well, I thought Self, I don't know how many times in his post-game press conference, which was all of like 7 minutes or something, he just talked about, I should have called a timeout.
Sure.
And he obviously didn't want to call a timeout.
Right.
And he obviously felt like it was the right play and he also pointed that out. That's your ideal situation.
Yeah.
Defense scrambling. You don't give them a chance for Huggins to set something up.
Right.
Like if they call a timeout, does Huggins pressure? What I did like that Self said was that maybe he should have called a timeout once Vic got across half court. And
it
seemed pretty obvious that it wasn't going downhill, which is what he wanted.
Then you can at least draw something up.
Yeah, so you didn't get the kind of chaotic offense in transition that you're hoping for.
Sure.
So, okay, let's call a timeout and kind of regroup and draw something up. Let's get a layup.
Probably
let's
a lob.
Let's get it into the paint. Yeah,
Probably a lob. That's what they love out of the timeouts, right? Yeah. So, I agree. I also thought it was really interesting that I asked Marcus Garrett, did you guys expect the timeout? And he said, no.
Right.
No, we didn't. And we practice it. And Dedrick Lawson said, we practice it. And the problem with our practices is transferring to the games. Lawson said, we take it for granted when we can't close a game in practice against the scout team. We don't care. Bill Self yells at us. We look at him like he's crazy. That's what Dedrick Lawson said. And
that's great insight. I love
that. It's great
man.
Insight because he realizes it. He took this one hard. They all did, man. We talked to Dotson after the game. Self said it stings. This was one that another one that they let get away. And if it costs them, it costs them. We'll find out. We've got a bunch of games left before that's decided. But this does have the feel of one you could look back on and go, man, that's where they let it get away. They got some time to make up for it now. And winning on Monday night against Iowa State at home, an Iowa State team that whipped them in Ames, would be a good way to do it. It would be a good way to start anyway. But long way to go. It's very interesting though. This is a real race and a real just war of a conference. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun the rest of the way. provided we can get home. This was Winter Storm Harper was here, and it was supposed to be just bludgeoning Pittsburgh. We've caught a break, and it doesn't look like it's going to be quite as bad. So hopefully we'll be watching football by the time many of you are watching this in our own homes in front of our own fireplaces.
And more importantly, we'll be in Allen Fieldhouse for a huge game on Big Monday.
That's true.
We were kind of worried about missing that with some giant winter storm hitting the Northeast.
Sure.
Are we just going to be stranded in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
While KU is on its way back home and playing Iowa State? We had no idea.
That would have been tough.
It's looking positive. So.
That would have been tough. We'll check you guys out if we make it. But thanks for checking out this episode of KU Sports Extra. KU loses 65-64 at West Virginia. They're now 2-5 in Morgantown, 15-3 on the year, and 4-2 in Big 12 play. It's going to be fun from here. So buckle up, take a drink, something. Just relax and see what happens. For Ben Smith, I'm Matt Tate. We'll talk to you guys again real soon.